Hello, everyone. Welcome to Started Up Wednesday. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever it is that you're joining us from. Thank you for coming by this here, February 14th. For those of you in parts of the world that celebrate Valentine's Day, I hope you're having a great one. If you don't celebrate it, then, maybe you learn how to catch some bugs here instead of feelings. I love that post by our amazing guest, by the way. We're going to be talking to an incredible, and very special founder today, Dani Grant. For those of you who might have heard of Dani used to be an engineer at Cloudflare. She's been working product for a long time. And based on her own and her team's experiences, she came up with this amazing concept together with her co-founders, and they created Jam. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to take a look at the way it works. I hope that at the end of this transmission, all of you get a little bit excited and go catch some bugs and go collaborate with your team in ways that I feel like they're going to be fun and better. But before we get started, I would love to say hello and welcome to Armando. Armando, welcome. Bjorn, welcome from Germany. Carlos, welcome, and happy Valentine's Day to you too. Armando, Argentina presente. We're going to be in Argentina in September. I'll have to share more details about that. And welcome to Amin from the Netherlands. It's amazing to have you here today. Before we get started, I do want to make a quick announcement about the GitHub Accelerator. If you have not heard about the GitHub Accelerator program, it is basically a program that is going to make your dreams of building a product that is based on open source technology true. If you have an idea, if you currently have an open source project that you think, you know what, this would be a great startup, or this might be an amazing company, then we're here for you. GitHub has a fund set up. I believe it's up to $40,000 you get if you are selected for the fund. And then you also get the support of Microsoft for startups, GitHub for startups. It's an amazing opportunity. Really, very much like our GitHub for Startup program, is not just about the credits that you get and all the amazing tools that you get to build with for you and your team free of charge, but more importantly, the network and the connections. At the end of I believe it's a 10-week cohort, which starts in March. So we need to make sure that we get those applications in today. I'll go ahead and share the link for you to go ahead and apply. But once the cohort is finished and you will have done your building, your mentoring, your tutoring, you figured out exactly what you want to present, there is an actual showcase that happens stream live via all the GitHub official channels. Our CEO comes to that event. It's a big deal. You get to not only showcase everything that you've been building for the past 10 weeks, but also it's a great opportunity to launch your product. So apply today. There is no specific requirement. Your code does not need to be currently hosted on GitHub. It just needs to be an open source project with a clear license. And you need to have a plan what you're going to do with that $40,000 and all those resources. So keep it in mind. Go ahead and apply. There's a short link on the screen, gh.io/open2024. The application process closes on March 15th. So please get those applications in today. But now we're going to get to the cool stuff. And we have already a customer. Mohammed says he's already done a reel. So let's bring Dani out. Hi, Dani. How are you?
It's so great to be here. Mohammed, you just made my day.
I love this. We talked a little bit about this, and thank you for being here again, Dani. I had a great opportunity to meet Dani during GitHub Universe last year, and we had an amazing conversation. There was a lot of hand going because that's how I speak, I guess. I don't know. I broke the camera. We didn't get really clear video, so we're doing a do-over here. But I remember you mentioning that one of the things that's like super exciting when you see people like wearing the Jam swag, or when you see comments like this. This is so cool. So thank you, Mohammed. Please drop a link of it.
Yeah, I would love to see this reel. It's really special as a founder. Like, my co-founder and I started this company because we were product managers facing this issue, and we needed a tool and we didn't have one. And when you work inside a company, the job is sort of to crawl through glass to ship stuff out the door. You can't just pause and say like, wait, should we revisit our bug reporting processes? Like, there's no time for that. And it requires a separate company. And so that's what Jam is. It's that separate company just focused on this broken part of the process that we faced. And now to get to share that with other people who do what we used to do, it's like, it's super special. There's no words for it. I've somehow lost your audio. Is that possible?
No, it's me. It's all me. We're
Great.
trying to microphone today, family. So let me know if it doesn't work. I'm trying to be like the cool kids that have these portable ones. So let me know if my sound goes bad at any point, and then we'll go back analog, baby. So Dani, welcome again. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a ton happening. Even since we spoke last November, there has been some exciting announcements coming from the Jam Camp. There was an amazing announcement I saw just last week or the week before last about more funding coming your way, which is fantastic. But let's start from the beginning. For those of you who missed our amazing audio interview, and I will be sure to drop a little URL to it here as well. Talk to me a little bit about the inspiration, right? Because it is personal when you create a product, especially if you're building a solution, developer tools, dear and near to your heart or your career is the field that you've been working on. So together with your co-founders, you keep running into the same problem. Talk to us a little bit about the inspiration behind that, and how did you go about to map out what is become Jam?
So I was very, very lucky to join Cloudflare as the fourth product manager there. It was about 100 people, and I got to work with incredible engineers, learn from an amazing management team. And when the company got a little bit bigger, they created a team off to the side to ship new businesses for the company, these new big experiments that would be such a risk and distraction for the core team to look at, but gosh, shouldn't we try? And so it was me and one other product manager, now my co founder at Jam, and a team of 30 engineers and a few designers. And together we raced at trying to build new businesses for the company. And so that team shipped, if you're familiar with Cloudflare, my now co-founder and I were the PMs on Cloudflare Workers, their serverless compute platform, which now Jam is built on 1.1.1.1, which is a secure way to access the internet, which now fields more than 1 trillion queries every day. It's just incredible.
Wow.
But it was there trying to move really fast and try to get these things out the door that would work really well on day one, that we realized just how much time and frustration and energy is spent on the back and forth between product and eng. So in the chat, let me know if this has ever happened to you. So PM reports a ticket to you, you open the ticket, and there's actually not enough information for you to debug it. Like, you can't start writing code yet. You actually need to follow up for more information. Does that happen to anyone today?
I raised my hand. I'll go ahead and raise it. If any of you have ever worked as a support engineer, you feel this deeply, like it cuts you. I come from a support engineering background, so I feel it. Sometimes there's things that it's just, unless you're sitting literally next to the person and they're doing all the steps to reproduce, it's impossible. So yes, we feel the pain. I think we feel it everywhere.
So engineers, instead of spending most of their time writing code, are actually spending a lot of time just context switching between tickets, not actually able to action anything, having to chase down information. They're like commenting in the Jira, or they're like slacking someone, they're hopping into a meeting, they're hopping into a call, they're doing a screen share. And the reason for that is because us mere mortals reporting these bugs, creating these tickets, well, we don't have any tooling. And so it's sort of like driving your car to the mechanic and the mechanic expecting you to tell them what's wrong with it. It's like, I don't know, just check the diagnostics. Like, we need that for software. And so that's what Jam is. It lets anyone, no matter their technical background, just click to copy a link to their clipboard that they can share with an engineer that is all of the technical diagnostics that an engineer needs. Like, it has the last 30 seconds of the session played back like a video. It has everything that's in Chrome DevTools, so console logs, network requests, the timing waterfall. It has all the metadata of the session, like what browser you're in, what device, what OS, even custom metadata, like what is the user ID, what is the team ID, what experiments are they a part of. And that way the engineer has all the information they need to debug, and they don't need to ask a bunch of questions or go back and forth. Like, bugs are not anyone's favorite part of the software engineering process. And so we try to make it as pain-free and as quick to solve as possible.
I appreciate that deeply. We did get some responses on the chat. Thank you so much, everyone. Mohamed is a 100% fan. Can't imagine working without it anymore. I love this. Thank you, everyone. And listen, if you're here today and you just call it stream and you're like, what is this about catching bugs and not feelings? What are they talking about? We're talking about a way that you can actually communicate with your team more effectively in a visual way. And to get all that, like you mentioned, the metadata, all the diagnostics, you no longer need to send a support bundle. Everything is there. Once you send the gem, it's all there. Dani, are you up for doing like a screen share and showing us a bit about it?
I would be honored. Yes, of course.
Yay. Awesome. 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 Okay. So let's give Dani a moment to get set up to do this. I've got to tell you, I've installed the Chrome extension. I love it. I love the logo. I probably haven't been using it for the purposes that I intended, but it's been working great to do some just quick screen grab for, other things, maybe not plugin, but
Awesome.
it's been awesome. Yeah, it's been great. All right. Let's take a look. There should be on the bottom, there should be a little plus symbol. I'm sorry, we should have checked this earlier.
Let's do this. Linda.
Beautiful.
So it's
I
not
see you.
often as a founder you get to ask your team to build a broken web app, but this is a pizza order form that does not work. So it will not order a pizza. And actually, even if I refresh, still no pizza. But we've got a really handy way to share that information with engineers so they can debug this pizza order form. So you can capture a screenshot, you can record a video, but most of our users just use this option called instant replay, which captures the last 30 seconds of what happened, played back like a video with all the errors on the timeline. Then you can just add a description if you want. You can send it to a ticket, to a GitHub issue, or you can just create a link to share. And it copies to your clipboard immediately what you can share with engineers. And that link has everything they need to debug. So the last 30 seconds played back like a video, all the errors on the timeline, all the session information about the device and the browser, even custom information like user ID. It's got console logs, network requests. Each network request can be copied as curl, so you can play it back on your local machine for local debugging. It's got what actions did the user take, so automatic steps to reproduce that are actually even more accurate than what a human would write. Like this will catch how did you refresh, or did you click the back button? It will catch double click versus click, any keyboard shortcuts you may have done. And even can connect to your backend logging platform. And there's a little AI assistant that will help you debug too.
Wait, what? There's already AI incorporated here.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
What we found is tons of engineers were copy pasting errors from Jam into ChatGPT, and we're like, wait, we can save you a step. So instead of searching Stack Overflow, instead of copy pasting errors to ChatGPT, we just prompt GPT-4 with all the information we know about the errors in the web app, and then even if you pasted some code, it will fix it for you.
That is amazing. I love that. I have not played with that bit. I appreciate that. Let us know in the audience, if you're watching this, if you have any questions about what you just witnessed, which is making your life easy. One of the most difficult things, especially, and this is beyond, whether you're building developer tools or you are an engineer building a product that is consumer facing, when you get those requests, and what did you do? How did you get there? I don't remember. Like, it's so difficult to literally spell out every single step. Yes, first I open here, I click there. And sometimes we make mistakes, I know I do, that are not accounted for as we're doing those steps to reproduce. This is what happened. This is how I got to this error. But Jam tells me exactly what happened, exactly what I click, and how I get to that point. That is amazing.
There's actually this really funny class of bugs that we hear about all the time, which is that someone in QA or a founder or a PM is such an expert at their own product that they just actually click too fast. And when you click super, super fast on the product, actually sometimes the product isn't ready for the next click. And so it throws an error because like the state isn't caught up. And so they'll report a bug, which is like the page crashed or something, or like the button hung. Then an engineer tries to repro it. They follow the exact same steps, but there's no bug, right? Because they're clicking at a normal human pace. And so when a human writes the repro steps, they don't capture all of that. But when a computer writes the repro steps, actually they can capture first I clicked, then like they capture exactly the clicks and the network requests all in one timeline. And that is very powerful for that class of bugs, which actually happens quite often.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think even if you are not an expert in what you could be like the person who literally wrote the entire code base, and you get so caught up in that you know exactly what you're looking at that even you miss things, right? Like even you, because you're doing this process very much by memory. When you pull it up and you see whatever it is that you want to work on, that's incredible to be able to have that additional. It's like an extra. My God, is this like another pair? You're like another pair of eyes, another pair of eyes, another someone over your shoulder helping you debug, which is absolutely amazing. And it's free to use, correct? Like when you first come in, if I want to go ahead and sign up for an account, all I have to do is go to jam.dev. And I thank you very much for the authentication with GitHub. It's already integrated there, so you don't have to create anything different. You just integrate directly. Talk to me a little bit about the integrations that you have set up for Jam right now.
Yes. So we integrate with the most popular issue trackers, including GitHub issues. So if you need to log all the issues in your product in GitHub issues, we want to save you time doing that. So we don't want you to have to go open a new tab each time and then you sort of get distracted because there are notifications in GitHub. We just want you to like quickly in a couple clicks create the issue and move on. And we want the engineer on the other side to get the perfect GitHub issue or the perfect Jira ticket or whatever it is.
That's amazing. So you don't have to, and again, it's not just GitHub that's got an integration. If you're working based off Jira tickets, and there is the option to send the link directly. It copies everything to your notebook, but you can also send the link directly. So even if you're not hosting anything anywhere, you can still use this tool and use it, for what it's intended, to share the information that you're seeing in extreme detail, fast, and very much, listen how I'm speaking, better communicated than if Andrea was typing it out. So it actually captured that. That's fantastic. Let me take a quick look at the chat and see if there is
This is the most positive chat ever.
Like I love it. Our friends that come and join us are just amazing. Thank you so much for your support. And honestly, because it's Valentine's Day, I'm gonna have like 2 seconds of just savvy. All of this that we're doing, like bringing these projects and getting the opportunity to interview people like you, Dani, it would mean absolutely nothing if it wasn't for every single one of you who's tuning in today. So from the bottom of my Valentine's Day heart, thank you for being here. And thank you, Dani, also. I know you're super busy. There is a lot of stuff going on. So let's get to some of these questions. Thank you so much to Mohamed and Joseph and everyone in the chat. Let's see, Diego Alcocer. So users have to activate their plugin, turn it on somehow before they start working. Excellent question. It takes all of 2 seconds to add the extension, but go ahead, Dani, if you don't mind just walking it through the actual workflow. Like, how would you use it?
I'll share with you something top secret, which is in today's world, you have to install an extension in your browser. It does take just 2 seconds. But Diego, based on your question, it sounds like you're asking about users. There is something coming down the pipe which will allow users without installing something to be able to record these sorts of videos back for the engineering team. If you want early access, please reach out. I'm Dani at jam.dev.
Oh my gosh. Listen, take up this opportunity to be one of the first people testing. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. So you have had like such incredible and legit, it's been like going beyond the atmosphere growth. How many jams are there now? I feel like the last time we talked, it was already an impressive number. This has only been like 4 or 5 months, but it's already like in the millions, right? Like you're already way up there.
We're really blown away. So we crossed, well, the product has been live for under 2 years. We crossed 1 million jams created in December. It's now 1.3 or 1.4. People are creating more than 50,000 jams each week, and they're actually debugging even more than that. They're debugging 65,000 jams every week, which is just really like inspiring and motivating. We actually put a live jam counter on our website. So if you go to jam.dev and you scroll down just a little bit, it's like throwback to the old web where there's like a live visitor counter. We put a live jam counter on there.
I love that so much. That is amazing. Yeah, that's a super sweet throwback. All right. So if I am, let's say I am a QA engineer, I'm a support engineer, I'm a product manager, I'm working on this product, and I decide, you know what? I think this would be great. I'm going to test it out. I go in, I authenticate with GitHub. Shout out. Thank you for the authentication. I'm ready to start working. I install the extension, right? And I can go ahead and just start submitting my jams however I please. What if I want to work in a team? Are there any features that allow me to have my own team within the platform? And how am I sharing what I'm working on with them? Could you talk to us a little bit about the capabilities for like teams at an enterprise level, I suppose?
Of course. So you just create a team workspace. It's actually completely free for another month. So go and try it out.
Get in it today.
And you can invite your teammates. And it comes with a bunch of added access controls too, because we know that's what companies need.
Fantastic. I appreciate that. Let me go back to we have a ton of really amazing feedback. People are super pumped to try it out, which I am so excited. Listen, if you start using Jam today, please post me a little screenshot with no PLL, nothing. I don't need to know your jams, but post a little screenshot on the comments on whatever platform you're joining us from today, and I will be sure to send you a little token of my appreciation for giving it a whirl, trying it out with us today. Also, please, product feedback. I know that this has been a very important. You're a product manager before. You understand that really the life cycle of any product, like it begins and ends with the user. So important to gather product feedback. How are you incorporating product feedback into the platform now? And how can people actually provide active feedback if they're watching this, they test it out, and they have like some other cool ideas they like to share?
It's genuinely the most important thing. By the way, if you're in the chat and you're like, I've got some ideas or feedback, just email me, Dani@jam.dev. I can't wait to hear. Um, as a founder, just first and foremost, like you pour your heart and soul into the company, into the product. And if it's not what people want, then it's like, what are you even doing? And so feedback actually really just matters to us on a personal level. Like we're going to work really, really hard. We may as well make sure that it's aligned with something that actually benefits the people who we think we're building for. So we do a couple things. The first is every single new user that signs up to the product gets an email from my co-founder Urtifa, just asking like, hey, checking in, how's everything going, anything you need help with. And it's really him on the other side, and that's how we meet actually a lot of users. The other thing that happens is every single week I reach out to the top 100 users from the week before who I haven't reached out to prior, just to check in and see how things are going. And so we have a touch point not only with our newest users but our most active users, and constantly getting that feedback. Then internally what happens is we share their most like insightful, helpful feedback in a Slack channel called Users Say the Darndest Things. And then each piece of feedback has a real discussion with the team with, oh, that's so interesting. How should we action that? What should we do next? And that way we make sure we're always sort of aligned with our users. The last thing that we do is often these conversations that start with one of these two emails will end up in a call. And if we record and there's like a really helpful clip that we just need the whole team to hear, then we'll play it in a team meeting and we all discuss it as a team. And so that way we're always hearing what the most important people of the company, the users, have to say, and making sure that we're working in line with that.
I appreciate that. I got the email. So you're telling me if I reply to the email, I actually get to the co-founder.
Yeah, say hi
All
to
right. I love it. This is fantastic. Yes, folks in the chat who are asking, it is Dani with an I.
Yep.
It is Dani with an I, Dani@jam.dev. I have another question that came from the chat. We got to be equal opportunity answers. How did you come up with this name? Because first of all, it is brilliant and I love it. I kind of have an idea. I don't think I asked you that last time. So folks, how do you think the name came about? Let's drop a clue in the chat. Tell us what you think, and then Dani, please do tell if it's okay, if you're okay, open to sharing.
I would love to share. When you're a product manager, the way you approach everything, PMs in the chat will know this. The way you approach everything is you start with user interviews. So the first thing we did in this company is, we built like a weekend prototype so that we could just be like, how does this feel to us? And also we started interviewing people, and we did 45 user interviews just right out of the gate, because we wanted to validate that this is not just a problem that we faced on our one specific team, but that this is an industry-wide problem. And the answers we heard on those calls there was so much like emotion and frustration and excitement. Like, one person we talked to really early on, he tried to pay us and he tried to set up an onboarding for his team. And we're like, this is super validating, but there is no product and we cannot onboard anyone. And another person who we talked to super early on was so passionate about the problem. He was running at the time design at a company called Scale AI. Now he's running his own startup called Ambrook. His name is Jeff Anders. He's such a talented designer. And he was like, can I contribute in some way? And he made us the logo. He made us the brand colors, the fonts that we still use today. So that was like the most amazing gift to the startup ever. It like started everything.
I love that. Love the
But
logo. It's a strawberry, right? Yeah, it is.
that
Yeah, yeah.
that A in the jam, he's so brilliant. This is like FedEx logo level. It's like it's the A of jam, it's the strawberry of jam, and it's a little rocket ship.
Amazing.
And but the name itself, we kept hearing in these calls, people would talk about where they were doing this back and forth communication, and they would call it like, oh, we'd have like a design jam or a bug jam. And we just kept hearing the word jam over and over again. And so my co-founder actually had the aha moment where he said, should this thing just be called jam? And the rest is history.
There you go. Now you heard it from the co-founder herself. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think I can find who asked the question, but I appreciate you. That was a great question. There is another question in the chat from Diego. Diego, thank you for being here. And this is one that I love because yeah, I don't code every single day, but it's like super easy to like install it. But I know you have a ton of user feedback and you've had these conversations. So how do I explain to non-technical people in my team? Maybe they don't even have a GitHub account. Maybe they're not, how can I tell them how to use jams?
Yes, it's an amazing question. We built this in mind. So one of the core principles that we're always talking about internally is how do we make things dead simple? Because when you're just trying to communicate with engineers, we don't like the problem is it's a really frustrating experience and it makes you feel dumb. And of course it does because you don't have the engineering training. You're not an engineer yourself. And so we actually just want you to feel like you can contribute and do so quickly and sort of move on and not spend all your time reporting bugs. And so we do things in as few clicks as possible. So you just click once on the strawberry, click once to select instant replay, and click once to hit copy to clipboard. And then you're sort of done. So it's been really, really awesome to hear stories from the community of people who don't have tech backgrounds who are now using Jam to start businesses, to work in their first tech job. And that's been super awesome. But Diego, it sounds like your question is also about like people are reporting bugs to you in all sorts of channels that are like text message, maybe it's like email, and it might be end users versus internal team members. So we have something around end users coming up down the road. And if you email me, Dani@jam.dev, you may be able to get some early access soon.
I love this. This is what you get when you come to the GitHub streams. You get exclusive access to products that are not even, the features are not even part of the product yet. But thank you, Dani, that's so generous. Thank you.
Not to be too cheesy, but like communities like this, where it's like builders here in the chat from all over the world are so special. One of the things that when you start a startup, you sort of you choose who you're going to spend all your time with, right? And we got so lucky that the people that we get to spend all our time with are builders, and the reason for that is like every single person who uses the product, every single person here in this chat is someone who's trying to change some corner of the world through software. And that's super inspiring to me. And when you think about like our world today that's so software powered, even really brick and mortar experiences like schools and hospitals, there's all software underneath. And so the faster we add new features to software, the faster we build new software products, actually the sooner our experiences as people improve. And it's like, and so these are the people here in the chat all around the world who are making the future sort of arrive sooner. It's like not to be too cheesy about it, but like I just, it's a super positive community here in the chat, and it's actually a really amazing thing to get to be a part of.
Absolutely. You're talking to folks who are like directly impacting like acceleration of human progress every single day, every line of code, every ticket that you close, it's all making a difference. So that is Absolutely amazing. We do have a question from Amos, and thank you, Diego. Diego's gonna email you. It was like he heard exclusive access and was in. We do have a question from Amos on LinkedIn Live. Thank you for joining, Amos. You're awesome. And sorry if I mispronounced your name. A bit about roadmap. Would there be support for web browsers or an API for custom stuff? This is a great question.
We've got to do it. Okay, so today Jam works on Chrome, Arc, Brave, Edge, but we've got to do Safari and Firefox soon. API for custom stuff, some good news there. We have already an SDK called jam.metadata, which you can just call and pass in literally anything. Developers just pass in like the full React state or the full MobX tree. And then when you get the jam from your PM, from your support engineer, from your QA manager, it's already got everything with a nice little like JSON inspector.
Beautiful. Okay. And in terms of roadmap, I mean, you already have a integration with GPT, which is amazing. There's already, you already can start doing your debugging process. And not only for that, but also like I get a lot of value from that, from the point of view that if it's a new thing to you, it can actually help you understand what you're looking at, and maybe make the more informed questions once you go to the person you're going to send the jam to. So I super appreciate that. Anything else that's coming up that you're okay to share? I know we're going to stay tuned. We're going to follow you. We're going to go try the jams. But if there is anything that is in the roadmap that you're excited about or that is work in progress, it would be cool to hear from you.
I would say you can expect some announcements soon around, well, we talked about like more customer support tooling for users without having to install something. Announcements soon around mobile debugging. That's huge. And I'm really excited about something internally happening there. Of course, around AI. But one thing I'll say is if you're interested in being part of building all of these things, we are hiring. So you can check out our open roles, jam.dev/careers. And I hope to hear from some of you here soon.
Oh, this is epic. Okay, so if any of this sounded super exciting for you, which I feel like it sounded very excited to most of us, and you want to be a part of building this future, go jam with these folks. It sounds like you have such an amazing team. Because I follow you on social, I get to see like I think you had an offsite, and they were like it feels like a really cool dynamic and like a fun place to work. So the careers page is now on the chat, folks. So go ahead and give it a look. Take a look and see if there is something there that you absolutely love to be a part of. Let's see. One more question, and then I know we're going a bit over time, and I apologize for that. About templating. Oh, this is interesting because it's been a hot second since I've used Jira. But I guess Jira's got a template support where you can, I guess, differentiate between non-jam reports and jam reports. Is there anything like that currently? Maybe in the roadmap? Broad feedback?
Totally. Okay, so yes and no. So it's not a perfect template match to a tool like Jira yet. We should build that. And again, if you want to be the person who builds that, jam.dev/careers. But what we do is we inherit all of the custom fields that you have already set up in whatever issue tracker you're using. And if they are required, then we also require them on the Jam side. And so that way the Jira tickets or the Asana tickets or the linear tickets or the GitHub issues or whatever you're creating from Jam match perfectly with how you want them to be internally on your team, but hopefully even better because they have a lot more extra metadata that might not be included. By the way, to Nadi's question about can it catch bugs related to WebSockets, I just want to give a quick shout out to an engineer on our team worked so hard on it. And there's this great WebSockets inspector inside of Jam now with lots of like fancy, like pretty print and copy paste. And I hope you love it.
Fantastic. Okay. I super appreciate that. Thank you so much for the question to both of you. Thank you, Nadi. Well, I think people are pumped. They're excited to go try it out. Let's go ahead and try it out today, folks. Again, all you have to do is go to jam.dev. If you're interested in working for Dani, you go to jam.dev/careers. See if there's something there that you can help build. 99 says they don't like bugs. I don't either, but that's why we're here to catch them and share them and get them out of our product and just get going. But this is amazing. Okay, so where else can we keep track of what's coming up next? Just follow Jam on social. Follow you, Danny, as well. Let me drop your, would you be most active on X, or what would be a
That's
good place for
perfect.
folks to reach you? Okay,
That's
perfect.
great. And I'll say that we have a very spirited team at Jam. We have a lot of fun building it, and we take holidays very seriously. And so today we dropped a video on our channels to celebrate Valentine's Day in the most developer-y way we could think of. So I hope you enjoy it.
Wait, was this a video? Was it a meme video, or is it a video that your team actually made?
It's a video that we made.
What?
It's the catch bugs, not feelings video that you're referring to.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Oh, I love this. Okay, I got to link to it immediately. I saw that this morning on LinkedIn, and I was like, this is the funniest thing. I love it, especially because this is a good. It's our post for Valentine's Day was a AI generated image of LGTM. It's like in the shape of like one of those really gross hearts. Hey, don't hate me, but I don't like those. What are they called? The ones that come with all the messages. They taste like chalk to me. But that is yours is way funner. Let me find the link to it, and I'm gonna share it here. Earlier, also, I've shared on the chat a link to the quick start demo that is in the YouTube channel for Jam, and it's a quick 2 minutes. So for those of you who are thinking about trying it out, you want to propose it to your team, you want to share it with someone that you're already working, that would be a good starting point too. I mean, in under 2 minutes, you'll be set up and ready to get started. So go ahead and try it out there. I can't find the link to any help. I was looking for
let
it.
me send. So x.com/jam.dev spelled out, and just
Okay.
the most recent tweet is this Valentine's Day video. And if you scroll down to the comments, we have also a link to the last holiday video we made, which is from Halloween, because we thought nothing spookier than a bug in prod.
You are correct. Yes, on a Friday night. On a Friday night before the holidays. That's amazing. All right, so x.com/jam. All right, I'm going to pass the link through here as well so that everyone can, and please give it a like. I saw that you have a YouTube channel. Obviously, this is where the tutorial was. Let's go ahead and subscribe to that channel, folks, because I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more content that's going to be dropped as the product continues to grow. So don't be shy. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button and keep on learning with Jam. And then one day I'm going to find this link. Why am I not? I'm missing it. If someone in the audience, please and thank you.
x.com/jam.dev, exactly as it's spelled in the YouTube.
Jam.dev. Perfect. Thank you, Dani. Telling you, I'm having a funny day today. I'm going to post it on the chat as well so that we can get a good chuckle. But I appreciate it. It's been amazing having you and having this conversation with you. I'm sorry, went a little longer than I asked for time-wise. It always happens. But I do have to ask you, I mean, this is such an amazing product. Super excited for everything that's happening. Super excited for all of the exciting announcements that you have and more to come, right? There's going to be a lot more. Anything else that you would like to pass on? You gave me such incredible personal wisdom last time we talked, especially for founders, for folks out there with the idea. I want to touch on one in particular, which wasn't part of our conversation, but it was something that I saw you posted on social a couple of weeks ago. And I sound like I'm stalking Dani. I'm sorry. I'm very well aware of what's happening. About the technical foundations for a founder. And especially in the era of AI, you should not delete the limitations of, I want to build this thing on Rust, but I don't know how to write Rust. That should not be a limitation for you to not be a builder of the thing that you want to build. Anything that you can share on that for all of us aspiring founders out there that are watching this and are thinking, you know what? I'm going to do it, but I don't know it.
There are a lot of startup rules that have aged over the last 15 years. Some have aged well and continue to be good advice. There are a couple rules that I think are now doing a disservice to founders. So here's one that we ran into. There's a 15-year-old saying by Reid Hoffman that says, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've shipped too late. 15 years ago, this is like perfect advice. Today, it's close, but following it to a T actually set us behind a little bit. So, of course, you should aim to ship fast, right? You like the point of a startup is you can move faster than the giants. But what we found is that in 2020 something, like when we were early in following this advice, the world has changed so much since 15 years ago. Like 15 years ago, Facebook had just launched a mobile app. Like now we have mobile, we have remote. The world relies on software. And so if you ship something buggy and sort of embarrassing, actually people just cannot use it even if they want to. And it was actually only when we decided to ignore this advice and we said, even though we're really early stage and we're just testing ideas, we're not going to ship software until it's bug free and production quality, that Jam really started taking off and we started learning a lot more about what users needed. So that's one like startup advice that hasn't aged well. The other is, there's this, 15-year-old advice that you need a technical co-founder. A couple things have changed since then. The first is the funding environment has changed. So often you can hire your first engineer versus having a co-founder. And that's just taking like a co-founder is not just a marriage, it's like having a kid with someone. It's like you're both sharing the most important responsibility of your life in some way. Or like maybe not but like one of the most important responsibilities of your life. And so it's very high pressure. It's like that's the foundation you're building the company on. It's really high risk. Like if you don't know your co-founder well, maybe just hire first, and you can always upgrade someone to a co-founder status. So the funding environment has changed. So oftentimes you can hire. But the other thing that's changed is, well, we're living in a world of AI and no-code tools, and oftentimes now you can prototype something and get pretty far without being technical yourself. And I think a lot of people hear this old advice and they limit their own beliefs of what they think is possible, but they don't need to. And you can actually start really incredible companies without being the first engineer of the company. So I'll give you an example. At Jam, the first version, it was like nights and weekends, my co-founder and I. But as soon as we thought, okay, this is real, we brought on contractors to help us build the first few versions and iterate around. It wasn't us as the first engineers. Calendly is a product and company that I really admire. Calendly was built by a software agency in Ukraine. Product Hunt is a product I love. Ryan is an amazing founder CEO, but actually he did not build the first version of Product Hunt. That was built by someone else. And so, it was built by a different engineer under his, of course, like guidance. But just to say that as a founder in 2024, you still need to come with the what and with the users, with the user's directive, like what are we building, and with like the domain expertise, but you don't need to come with the how anymore. And I think that advice just of you have to be technical doesn't make sense in this world.
Well, there you go, folks. And I feel like it works both ways as well, because there is a lot of engineers that might be absolutely brilliant, have tons of great ideas for products, for things that I'm sure there was somebody, obviously not as creative because they didn't make it, but that's thought, you know what, it'd be really great if I could just do a screen grab of this and it will have all the metadata for me. And then I wouldn't have to go sit next to so-and-so and explain it to them in painstakingly detail. But maybe you're thinking you're not a business person, or you're not motivated by that, but if it's something that can like help the world, accelerate growth, help ship software products that are running the world faster and improve all our lives, then go for it. Found your co-founder, join the GitHub for Startups programs. The team is going to absolutely cancel me if I don't mention the GitHub for Startups program. Dani, quickly, could you please tell us real quick what your experience has been? And then I promise you we're going to close out. Because this is an incredible resource for everyone who's potentially thinking about or has founded a company.
GitHub for Startups is awesome. Just all of GitHub is remarkable.
Oh my gosh.
Copilot. There was a day that for like mundane reasons, one of the engineers on our team like couldn't use Copilot. It was like on a different laptop. And he was like, I didn't do anything today. So, but also like everything runs in Actions pipeline at Jam. GitHub everything. I'll also add just 2 resources for those of you who are in GitHub for Startups, who are doing the GitHub Accelerator, where you're engineers and you're trying to learn the other sides of the business really quickly. 2 books I would read again on the first day of starting a company. One is called The Mom Test. It's about how to conduct user interviews so precisely that even your own mom who wants you to succeed so well in the world could not fool you with like just trying to like let you hear what you want to hear. The second is a book called Traction, which is like a 101 of all the different ways you can do marketing. And it's by the founder of DuckDuckGo. It's fantastic. So if you're an engineer, you're in these 2 programs and you're like, I want to level up even more, those 2 books.
Amazing. I've read Traction. I've not read The Mom Test. That sounds amazing. That sounds really good, especially if you're someone that's working. And listen, if I've heard somebody else, I'm the quoting tweets mode today. I think it was my colleague Juanpa from education that said, if you're product managers, I'm not talking to users, they're program managers. They're not actually leading or growing your project.
Wow.
And it's true. It's true, because that's where it begins and that's where it ends. Thank you, Dani. You're the absolute best. Thank you so much to our audience. It just like my heart bursting with so much positivity and love for our session today. Really appreciate you being here and supporting this amazing startup and GitHub for Startups as a program. Thank you so much, Danish. I appreciate you joining. If you're interested in working with Dani, they are hiring. Go check out the careers page. I know you're interested in trying out Jam, so please go in today. In 2 seconds, you'll be up and ready, and you'll be sending jams left and right. Give it a go. This is such an extremely amazing and pivotal moment in your company, because you're like, so I love how open to feedback, and please never change. This is amazing. So all the folks that heard it here, and the offers for getting into betas and testing things out, like definitely take advantage of that, because pretty soon there'll be billions of jams around and we might not have as much time. But thank you, Dani. You've been super generous with your time and with your knowledge. So super appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. You've been so kind and supportive. And also all of you in the chat. This really means a lot to me and to my team.
I appreciate it. And shout out to the amazing team behind Jam, Jad. And my gosh, shout out to the amazing video projection of this. It should be on TikTok. It's now viral in my brain. Now viral in my brain of not catching feelings. I absolutely love it. If you haven't seen it, I dropped the link in the chat. Go ahead and check it out. Thank you to this lovely LinkedIn user for giving us a bit of positive feedback. That was lovely. I appreciate every single one of you. Please, let's give Dani a super warm thank you in the chat. And Dani, you have to come back. We'll have to do a recap of what's happening in the next 6 months, because there's a lot happening. You're hiring, you're growing, you just got more funding. Like, there's going to be super exciting conversation to be had in the middle of the year. So please accept my invitation again.
It would be honored. Thank you all. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dani. Appreciate you. And thank you to everyone that hung out this long. I am in awe and forever grateful for your time and your presence here. Before we leave, I will be remiss if I didn't share it one time. I'm going to share it twice because I'm team get paid, right? So let's go ahead and get the slide up for the accelerator. And I will share the URL again on the chat. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to leave it playing so you can grab the URLs if you haven't yet. Don't forget to follow Dani at the Dani Grant on Twitter, and go give Jam a go. You won't regret it. See you next time.